Hello and welcome to another episode of the Winter Moon Podcast. I'm David.
I'm Brian.
John Bushfax Bushman.
I'm Nathan.
And on today's show, we're going to talk about coming back from a losing position. Brian played at the Windy City Open, as well as John played at Windy City Skirmish, in Illinois. And Brian had a very cool game against an Ewok army. And I know some of you out there are struggling against Ewoks. When you see them across the table, it's like, how many? Oh my gosh, so many bodies. How do I deal with this? And so we thought we'd spend some portion of the show talking about not just the tournament in general, but also coming from behind when you are in a losing position, how to turn that into a win. Maybe give you some tips as to enhance your game there. And then we're going to also talk a little bit about Adepticon later in the show. We know Adepticon's coming up. We know there's not going to be many significant meta changes between now and then, at least we think. But people are coming. The tournament players are coming out of the woodwork. I see constantly on the Legion Discord. A lot of players grinding games out, trying to get their lists organized and ready, and they're practicing before they go to the big tournament in Milwaukee. So let's jump right into let's jump right into our subject. And I'll have Brian talk about his game and give us sort of the story of the game and how things proceeded.
Yeah. So first, we can go ahead and break down my list. So my list was 9-act Rebels. It was a little bit silly, but I wanted to try it out. I want to play Op Luke and Bad Batch and my double buses that were loaded like as much as you can get. They had door gunners. They had the unstable astromechs. They had one of them had a hotshot pilot. The other one had Ryder Azadi. I've got 3 fleets, all with astromechs, and then a super fleet with Cassian, and the officer with the pistol and the thermal detonator, which is my favorite loadout because you can get the Pierce, the one off big shot basically with him with a piercing grenade and his gun. But he also gives Cassian and other trooper units or core trooper units at the end of round 1. He gives them reinforcement. And he also has exemplar, which is really great because you can aim him up with the buses and kind of hold on to those aims for other opportunities, which is cool. And it was super fun. It was with Bad Batch in the list. I think that if you're running Rebel Bad Batch, which is very different than your Gar Bad Batch, you want to look at really good objectives. They're not necessarily your killing piece, but they're objective pieces. And so Supply Run is fantastic for them because they can pick up a supply token at range 1. They can also score it at a POI at range 1, which is pretty great. And I've had some people say like, well, maybe you don't want to use up Bad Batch's activations or actions, picking up tokens because that can slow them down, but they still get to move, shoot, and then pick up a token. It's pretty great, and they also get an aim when they move. So it's their action economy is pretty stellar. So they're fantastic. There is multiple games at this tournament. I played shifting priorities and supply run and shifting priorities twice. That's a weird combination of primary and secondaries, because if you're owning a shifting area and you have a supply token, your opponent's just going to move it away. So you can't score the supply.
That is weird.
It's so weird. But you know who can score every time?
Lando.
Bad Batch and Lando.
Bad Batch.
And Yoda can because of guidance, right? So those are units that are really, really like that combination because most lists aren't equipped to deal with that. You have to be super kind of conscious about how to play that, because sometimes you have to purposely lose POIs to pull them into a spot that you need them to be in order to score. And that's kind of what happened with my round 3 game. We were playing. I decided to abandon two of the shifting priorities completely, and I stayed on one side of the board, which my list is kind of want to do with only 9x. And so it was Matt Flawed Zombie, who's excellent player, and he pilots the Ewoks very, very well. And he was just kind of stomping my face in. We got to round 4, and I was losing heavily. We had tied a couple times. I was hoping that'd be up a little bit further. I knew I was going to be losing most of the time, and I was hoping to pull it back at the end with the supplies at the end of the game, because there was 3 supplies on one side of the board and 1 supply on the other. Luckily, I was red player with supplies, and so I was able to see where he put his supplies and then aggressively put mine in a place where I knew I was going to be attacking. And so I knew that I could handle 3 supply tokens on one side. Anyways, I was down 4-10 on round 5 at the start of round 5, but I realized mid round 4 that I had to lose the middle POI, which I could have won. I had to lose it again. And I was like, it's just like so painful. I'm already losing the game really bad. I have to lose that again, because if I lose that middle point again, which he was already on with an activated unit, so I could make sure that I was not on it. And I had 2 units that would have been were in range of a POI token if it moved to score the supply run on round 5. And so Luke had a token and the Cassian Super Squad had a token. And so what I did is I deliberately did not move 2 units that could have won that POI. I did not do that. I just tried to kill as many Ewoks as I could so that I could pull that POI token closer and score those 2 POI or those 2 supply run tokens on round 5 with Luke and Cassian, which I was able to do. Bad Batch was able to chase down the back corner one, which he did a great job moving it away from Bad Batch. They had to chase it down hard. And they finally got there. So I scored 3 supplies on round 5, which boosted me up 6 points. And then I scored 3 of the shiftings. I finally was able to win that and pull that up. And so I ended up winning 13-12.
Jeez.
So if my math is right, you went plus 9.
Plus 9
one round
on round 5.
Gosh.
He
that's
gained
huge,
9.
right?
He didn't make the differential.
It was plus. It was.
He scored 9 points.
Scored 9
in
points.
The final round.
Wow.
To do a come from behind win.
Yes. So
Wow.
there is some dangers in that, right? So the danger is that there's a lot of dangers, right? So there could have been any number of things that could have went wrong. There's several things that went my way that would have changed the game, right? So sometimes you see a play and you're like, oh man, if this and this and this and this all happen, then maybe I can win. And this happened to be that game that all those things lined up, right? And so it was both lucky, but also it did take a little bit of planning as well. and the biggest thing is that I was confident. Matt Evans is not a slow player. I was confident he and I were going to get to round 5. We always do. We always finish games. Whenever we play, we're always done in 2.5 hours easy. And so I knew that this was a game that I could get to round 5. And if I was able to pull it out, it would have to be then. You can't always do that in a tournament setting because sometimes you just play against people that just aren't as fast as you're hoping. And you'll run into there's multiple games where I've lost where at the start of round 2, I'm like, I have to go aggressive here because if I don't, I will get behind and I don't think we're going to get to round 5.
Or round 4 sometimes.
It puts you in a really tough position. Sometimes you're just like, I just don't think we're going to get there. We've gone round 1 was so much slower than I was hoping. I'm going to have to put myself in precarious positions.
Do you have a check mark time that you try and like gauge that off of? Like if round 1 takes X amount of time, what's your kind of time in your?
I want round 1 to be over in 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, it's like 45 to 55.
I can see that. Yeah.
That's round 1 and round 2 are usually the longest rounds.
They are.
Depending on how much bloodshed happens right away. Sometimes round 1 goes a little bit quicker. Yeah.
Do you have another round 2 checkpoint that, like, you say if round 2 gets done by here, then we could probably get to 5?
Yeah. If we are done with round 2 at like an hour and a half, then or an hour and 40 minutes even, I'm pretty confident we're going to get to 5. Because rounds 4 and 5 usually go pretty quick.
That's true.
Okay. But it's kind of the opposite of like Old Legion. Old Legion, rounds 4 and 5 would take an hour and a half by themselves. Like they're crazy.
That's where everything actually happens.
Right. Or rounds 5 and 6, right?
And the game scoring instead of every round scoring.
Right, because all the victory math was backloaded into round 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. You had to do all your victory math by round 6 or 5 just to make sure.
6 rounds.
I mean, we used to, right?
Right.
No longer.
Not to go on this tangent too deeply, people make their quibbles about old versus new. The one thing I will not miss is the games where you spend 5 rounds doing absolutely nothing, and then everything happens on round 6.
It was awful.
No, there's definitely pros and cons with New Legion. And one of the pros, pretty sure it's undisputed, is that there's action immediately.
Yep.
Maybe not round 1 action, but there's round 2 action because victory points are being scored.
And
we want dice to be rolled sooner than later, usually.
Yeah. And round 1, even if not a lot of dice are rolled, it's action still. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not shooting.
It can be.
Round 1.
Yeah. Well, the action's different, right? It's like bluffs and threats and like,
Yeah. See, I've had a lot of players lately round 1 just deploying everything within 2 inches of their board edge, and then I sit there with my hands in my pockets. I'm like,
well, it's because you're running triple range for.
Yeah, you're running sabers.
Massive.
All right. No, this is not my fault. It's clearly my opponent's.
One of my favorite things to do, and I mean, I don't know if it's I mean, I never like try to game this, but like, so swoop bikes when they deploy, this is a little aside. Swoop bikes when they deploy, they have a ton of movement, right? Mm-hmm. So my opponent and I usually can say, look, we know this is a legal endpoint. I'm not going to make you math out where you have to start on the board edge to get to this legal endpoint for your deployment. So just put it there and let's pretend that you did 3 moves that were actually legal. And they're completely fine with it generally because swoops have a ton of movement. And it's like, well, I'm just going to move into this line of sight blocker and they're going to face sideways and they can do that in like 2 moves. Maybe look at an extra dodge. Who cares, right? They're not being shot at anyway. That action doesn't matter, So I guess my point there is sort of like if you can reasonably come to a consensus with your opponent, just do that and don't worry about.
I feel like I do have that a lot when it's like veteran players playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll hand wave a lot of round 1 movement. Like I'm gonna double move this trooper. I could go anywhere in the first 2 range bands, right? We cool.
Yep.
We cool. Okay.
Yep. I'm not going to force you to math it out because we know it's possible.
Yeah. There's no difficult terrain.
We sort of know enough theory of the game to know this would be legal, and it's a waste of time for both of us to make you do it formally.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, but like going back to the comeback mechanics, I do really like I like the secondaries and the primaries that allow that, but you do have to play it very carefully if you're going to go down. Like I much prefer being in the lead after round 2. That is by far my preference.
Do it. Oh yeah.
There's just sometimes where you kind of have to you have to hope that you're gonna make that comeback in round 4 and 5.
So let me ask you some questions because I think you're making good points. How, in this particular game, at what point did you know, okay, I'm going to be going behind and I'm going to be going behind pretty steep and I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z in rounds 4 and 5? Like at what point did you know that was your plan?
Round 1.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because he came out with Chewbacca, his ATST, and rolled 9 dice and hit 5 natural crits on my bus and impacted 4.
But you full saved, right? So
No. Bus took 7 wounds and then died to an Ewok slingshot the very next round. Or very next turn, actually. Sorry. The next turn that he took.
Dang.
Skill issue.
Yeah.
That's
what deploy inside the first 2 inches of your board edge, Brian.
It
just go flat to the board edge, right?
No, it doesn't matter.
Get that bus up on its like angle, 45 degree.
So hard.
Do you measure to the base or the model? You measure to the base, right?
Oh, man. Yeah. Anyways, It was bad. I have this terrible habit against Matt that every time we play, I'm like, hey, you know this thing that I really like and it's kind of important to me? You can take it round 1. Just kill it.
Man.
And then I'll just have to play without it the whole game.
You're describing my game 6 at LVO.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know this piece is really vital to my army and enables a lot of my stuff. Just have it, you know?
Yeah.
It was a donation. I'll donate them all and, I'll play with a hand behind my back,
Yeah. It was terrible. And so the minute that happened, I was like, we're going to lose for the first few rounds because I need to bring these POIs closer to me.
Yeah. All right. And so how do you balance? And so for a minute, let's ignore time mechanics. We covered that in a tournament situation, sometimes you don't get to round 5, you got to account for that.
Yeah.
Let's pretend we've got all our time to sort of optimize gameplay here. How do you balance taking the right pace and purposefully taking a loss in order to come back later, but not getting so far behind that you can't claw back? How do you balance those two things?
Well, so I got saved because of our scenario. Normally when you're down 4-10, you can't come back. you're just going for kill points. Our scenario was unique that I could, but the way that I would balance that, I would say, I mean, you a lot of times you get into a game and you just start playing the game and you're just like, okay, I need to come back, and you don't think about like how many VPs do I need to come back. But I started counting VPs after round 2, and it's like, okay, this is exactly what needs to happen. And he and I tied on one that I was hoping to get. I was hoping to have 6 by the time I got to round 5, because I wanted to win 2 VP or two of the shiftings each, round 2, round 3, and round 4, and I didn't do that. He did a great job keeping me from doing that. And so my goal was to be at 6 VPs on round 5 to his, he was going to have 7 because he cashed in one of his supplies early. And so I was hoping to be 6, or not 7, because he was going to be at 3, 3, 3, and 10. So I was hoping to be 6 at 10. Which is
4 and 10.
And I was at 4 to 10 because he did a great job of contesting the PO and having the same amount of units on POI as I did. And so it was a lot dicier than I was hoping, but I started doing that math, and that was my goal. It's like, I need to be at 6 by 5. And then I wasn't. And then I was like, okay, now this is what has to happen. I have to take all of the supplies here, which he had 2, or at one point he had 3 supplies. He cashed one in and he was owning the other 2. And I had 1. And I was just like, this game's over. But then I was able to take him because one thing my list does is it kills a lot. It just kills stuff. Like I got Luke who's aimed up. I've got buses handing out aims. I've got Cassian that gets served by Luke. It was doing good at killing a bunch of Ewoks. I mean, you look at the kill points at the end of the game, and it was like 700 to 300 or 700 to 200 something. Yeah, it was bad. But he just had so many bodies. Like it was just really hard to math it out. And yeah. So go ahead.
Well, so I'm hearing a couple of things. One is that, and I just reread the secondary, right, supply cache, and I don't think it says you can't cache multiples out at once. So
no, you can cache multiple.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So I think if your opponent had the foresight to realize you needed those to come back, he should have just cached all of them and denied you.
He couldn't. I kept moving the POI.
Oh, okay. So he couldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if he could have denied you, you would have just lost. Like your clawback was gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Be GG. Instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was multiple times where he had an Ewok with the token on a POI, and I had to go before that Ewok, and I did, and it killed it. to keep that PO,
Okay.
and I'd have to move the token outside the POI and like in a place that I know that it was complicated.
Right, that's tough because you only know when the points will, like you said, we said earlier, the points will move, and then it's like, oh well, then I have to move this unit to actually score this cash.
Yeah,
I do it at the right time. So would you say it's kind of like because I mean, obviously there's a luck factor here, where it's like
it was a huge luck factor.
The hits I want show up, and the saves that he needs to survive don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
But the skill portion of this is like, so knowing how the win condition can move, right? So that's one of the relevant skills. Is like, how does this win condition change round to round, and even activation to activation, because it's the circumstances on the board shift. And then the other relevant skill I'm kind of seeing also is like sort of counting your actions, like how many actions are available, and like, can I even take this attack because I need to go somewhere,
right?
Or should I bother with this? Could I reasonably expect to kill this unit in a specific amount of time? Because those are like the two like relevant skills, and obviously like variance is a thing, constantly happens as part of the game. But we as competitive players, right, we kind of operate in the space where it's sort of like we tend to bank on a certain average result. We sort of use that as a kind of a guidepost in some of our decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some interesting things here. You were talking about counting VPs, and I think that's really crucial. And in situations where, now I think you're talking about, I mean, you knew this was going to happen partially because there was kind of a mistake that happened early with the bus. I don't think it's always a bad thing to, even like before round one, I think even round 0, decide that you're going to take loss. It doesn't always have to be in response to a mistake. Like I've been playing a lot of when I get to play lately, I've been playing Empire, and Empire, the thing they're trying to do is the gunline thing. So that's what I've been trying to do, and gun lines tend to move a little bit slow, but they have range, so I can usually shoot my opponent sooner and with more stuff than what they can shoot me with. And when I'm a gunline list, particularly not a super high act gunline list, I know I'm not getting the middle round 2. I know that like every time. And so like that's the strategy, is to let my opponent come out onto the middle, shoot the crap out of them, and then take it. So I wanted to quickly, because 2 games, the 2 games I have played in the last few weeks, one was against Brian. I had sweet chance for Brian was in town, so he visited. We played a game, and then I actually had a game with someone who's local to me, who I turned out as one of our listeners. So Third Germ on the Discord. Shout out if you're listening to this later.
Third Germ's awesome.
he's
Great guy.
super great. And he listens to the show. So had him over, and we played a game. And Brian, so it's funny, our game was similar situation. You were creaming me like 9-3, I think. You were beating me 9-3. I managed to pull it back. I don't remember what the final thing was. But in that game, what I felt like I had done well was, and basically what you just described in your game against Matt, is managing your VP deficit. So not just thinking about, well, how many am I going to get? Are they going to get to 12? They're not going to go up. I think about that spread, and I think about, okay, right. So if you think about, being, in my case, 3-9, or in your case 4-10, that's a -6. And so every round, you're thinking, okay, how much can I reduce that spread, and can I make it to 0? So I think our game was like close the pocket, if I recall correctly, and close the pocket, and it was surface scan was the secondary. And so being down 3-9 on round 3 is rough, but there's 2 rounds left, and so I was trying to think,
4, right?
or because I feel like I had 2 rounds to come back.
Yeah,
So I don't think I managed to pass you in one round. I think I needed 2 to do it.
Yeah, I think you started to come back 4 and 5. I was ahead 2 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were way ahead of me round 3. Like
Yeah.
usually, if someone's a 9.9 to 3 on round 3, usually you're worried that they're going to get 12. But close the pockets one that is comeback friendly. Because I think there's a -6, and you were in a position where you were going to get yours, and I was never going to touch it. But I had mine pretty solidly, and you weren't going to get it. It was the middle that we were fighting over, as you usually do. I think, so if I get mine and you get yours and I get the middle, that's a +2 each round. So that brings the deficit from -6 to -2. And so the question is, that last -2, how much can I get? Well, and the answer is obviously in the surface scan, which is that's 2 points that I can get that you're not getting if I'm denying you from scoring the surface scan. And if then I score it with one of my guys, that's another 2 points. So potentially 4. So potentially 4 points that I could get. And so that's why I felt comfortable with that strategy, and it ended up working out. Obviously, there's always luck no matter what you do. But it felt good, even though I was behind at first, partially because I had that cushion of I needed to close a -6, but between the 2 rounds we had left, there was potentially a +8 on the table. So even if one thing didn't go exactly perfectly right, there was still a chance, right? I couldn't let you get all the way to 12, so some things had to go. But I was in a position with my attrition where I felt like it was reasonable to expect that I could hold the middle, because Vader's a beast. Now, fast forward to a week or 2 later, it was like a very similar scenario. It was close the pocket. I was playing a gun line. He was playing Rebels. Very, very similar. Third Germ, he's kind of new-ish, but he's been playing for a while now, and he's really grinding it. He listens to all the podcasts, and he practiced a lot, so he's really, really a great player and has gotten very good very fast. But I was feeling comfortable because I had just beaten you like a week or 2 ago. I was like, I'll be good. We'll do the same. We'll do the same tactic. I'll let him have the middle early on. I'll pressure it with my range, and then I'll come back in the last 2 rounds. It's fine. We'll tie on VPs and I'll win on attrition. Secondary was what's it called? Supply cache. Is that what it's called?
Supply run. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a supply run. Secondary was supply run. We both ended up scoring for 2 on both of our supply runs. He gave me a little bit of trouble on mine, which was part of the issue. Now, what I didn't, so this is why already this strategy is a little bit riskier, because we're tying on secondary. I'm letting him go up on me a -4 by round 2 and round 3, because I'm letting him score the middle. But so already I've made a mistake, because I put myself in a spot where there's only +4 for me on the table. I don't really have a reasonable way to stop him from scoring a secondary, because all my stuff is on the other side. It's like a very unreasonable to think I could stop that. So I put myself now in a position where nothing can go wrong, right? Because there's only a +4 to get, and I need all the +4. And what I goofed on, and I didn't even realize it till we were starting round 4, is on round 2, he most of his stuff was a little bit towards the middle. I ended up skewing really strong towards my side, and he had like a 13-act rebel list. It was pretty cool. At the end, he sort of he out-activated me by 2, and he played standing orders because I had to play Darkness Descends. And so he's very smart. He put some sleepers in a bus, and because he got 2 last acts, just chucked a bus at me at the end of round 1, and threw out a sleeper and just nuked some riots. And then he put Bad Batch on that same spot with the bus, and the bus and the sleepers. And so he just put a little bit of pressure on my home point, which is like annoying. And so, round 2 rolls around. I'm doing a fairly okay job with my spacing in the middle. I got pressure there so that all this white save crap that he's thrown out, will be easy for me to shoot on coming rounds. I've got Vader in a spot where he's going to be able to move to the middle and mess things up. and he puts his bus and Bad Batch and the sleepers on my point. I don't have a ton of stuff over there. I want stuff to be able to move to the middle because, again, gun lines are slow. So I can't have like 4 units on my back point. I need them to be in between so they can move to the middle. But so I kill his sleepers really quickly, and I've got a lot of impact in this list. I've got a bunch of DLTs. I've got Death Troopers. I've got like a bunch of impact. And so I just start working on this bus, and it's going down, and it's going down. And I've got 2 guys on my point. I've got like Krennic and somebody else. And I get the bus down to 1 wound left with multiple attacks to go. And at the end of round 2, this bus full saves like 6 or something, like 6 hits. Natty created impact. That might have been more. It might not have been that much. It was like a lot of hits that the bus just full saves on its last wound. And so we get end of round 2, and unexpectedly my point is tied. We each had 2 units on it because I was expecting his bus was going to go down because it had 1 wound left when I still had a lot of impact on the table. And I didn't, I was like, oh, that's annoying, but I didn't think much about it. But that ruined my plan instantly. And it took me about a round to figure it out because I was in my deficit in my mind. I was thinking we both score our home every time. He scores the middle twice. I score the middle twice. We tie. As soon as I lost a point, the whole thing was over. Yeah. And I didn't even catch it for a round because I was so stuck on I'll let him have the middle for rounds 2 and 3. And so we literally finished. We were scoring round 3. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm at a -5. How did this happen? We're smarter than this. Like Obi-Wan. And I think about it. I think, because the tide. I didn't do the math right. And so I threw the game on round 2. And I didn't even realize it because I was just falling back. Yeah. And so that was probably more long-winded than it needed to be, but I wanted to kind of lay them side by side, similar situations, to show that this can absolutely be an effective strategy if you are executing it well, but you got to be careful about managing the deficit. And again, you really don't want to put yourself in a spot where you have to get every single point available in order to get the tie. You want a cushion, and you want to be realistic. Yeah, and you want to be realistic about your chances to do that. If you go, well, I'm going to be at a -6 at the end of round 3, but there's +8 available. But if 4 of those are super hard to get, that's still not a good plan.
If it's getting like all 5 shifting priorities or getting all 3 points on close the pocket, like, come on now.
Right.
Right. You got to be realistic. You got to be realistic about what's available, and so you got to think, okay, that if I'm going to be a -6, are there 6 realistic points that I would bet money on myself getting?
Right.
And then are there 2 extra points beyond that? That's reasonable up for grabs. Then you're in a spot where you're like, okay, I think allowing myself to go behind -2, -4. Even in dramatic cases, -6, that's a reasonable plan if that's the situation.
I have a kind of a fun analogy, if I may.
Yeah.
This will be brief, but it's kind of like a video game level where you don't know where all the golden rings are, and you're kind of like trying to figure out where the hell the golden rings are, and like you need to know kind of in advance or like be able to sort of predict or perceive where those golden rings are going to be. And how many can you reasonably pick up before time runs out? Like that's kind of the before you lose the level, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can figure out, and it also works the other direction, because when you choose to go behind, you're basically saying this is a point that I had the opportunity to score this round that I will never score, right? So it works kind of in both directions.
Yeah, and if I think that's a cool analogy and a great point. If I would give advice to anyone, if I was coaching somebody on how to come from behind, I would say make sure that your plan has you winning by round 4, because in a tournament setting, like you just can't rely on the round 5 win. I've seen way too many times where people get hard dice down when they were planning on winning just in the next couple moves. And
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say most of my tournament losses are due to time. Not getting to round 5.
I would.
I lose for other reasons sometimes too.
Yeah.
But most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you're mathing that. Don't do what I did unless you're really confident you can get to round 5. But to be honest, I didn't really have a choice. Like he was kind of just running over me with the Ewoks.
I don't have a good idea of how hot this take really is, John, but I think it's kind of miserable for competitors that they just can't plan on the game being a certain round length. I just think it's terrible.
Preaching to the choir here.
And I don't know what I don't know what the solution is.
Chess clocks.
We've had that solution proposed, not widely adopted for whatever reason.
Right.
But
Well, since we went here, we don't have to.
Yeah.
When I was very new, the idea of chess clocks were very scary to me. I'm not naturally a super fast player.
Mhm.
I've gotten faster since I was new, believe it or not, Brian. Believe it or not. And it's not. I never like slow play anyone, but I think I'm a math. I like thinking about things deep. I think through them probably too much. So when I was new, it was scary because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it. When I got after I'd gotten into the competitive scene, even being someone who is on the slower side, I actually still came around to like the idea of a clock because I wouldn't feel bad if I ever won. Because there was one time, kind of a bigger tournament where I won because we got timed out, and I probably would not have won if we'd played a full at the time 6 rounds. I felt terrible. Like, I mean, not like I wasn't going to play hard, and not like I was in like casino or anything. Like the rules are the rules, and you play them right. And I wasn't slow playing on purpose. And to be honest, I didn't. I don't. He might have been slow playing too, or like playing slow too. You know, like I don't know that I even played any slower than him. But we didn't finish the game, and I wouldn't have won if we'd finished. And it's just a crummy feeling to kind of feel like it's kind of only feels like half deserved. And then the idea was like, oh, well, 5 o'clock doesn't matter how slow I play because my time's my time. The only thing, so I've been kind of pro chess clock for a while. The only thing recently I've thought about that makes me a little bit nervous about chess clocks. One thing I do love about Legion is even at the highest competitive level, I love how collaborative the game is because when everyone has honest intentions, which is true in my experience 99% of the time, very few players purposefully try to slow play to drain the clock. I've seen it, but I've seen it very rarely. I enjoy that the game experience is very collaborative because, generally speaking, both players want to get to the end of the game. Even if it would benefit one player to finish early, again, it doesn't feel good. Players, so we want to get to the end, and in the early game, you can't tell who it's going to be, right? So we want to rush. We want to get to the end, and I like that playing Legion is a very collaborative experience. So it's we're going to measure range. Would you hold this tool for me? Would you mind when I move that guy? And opponents will say yes. There is a part of me. I'm not saying this would happen, but I would be nervous about it if suddenly there were clocks involved and that was now a big factor. And if someone runs out of time, they lose. I hope the game would not become less collaborative and you would not see less opponents doing things to help the other player, right? Doing things to help them go faster. You certainly hope you don't get situations where it's your turn and you're on the clock and you're making an attack and the other guy's dinking around with his defense dice, right? I'm not saying that stuff would happen, but there's an increased likelihood happens, and that would be a shame if that happened. Like I like how the game feels. I like how collaborative it feels, and I like how our community feels. I would hope that.
Subject.
Right. Well, we probably could.
Next episode.
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe. I'll shut up.
Might deserve a separate article, YouTube video.
Yeah, maybe we should just hash it out.
But no, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Nathan. Like,
yeah.
The collaborative nature of the culture that we have at the high end tables, I wouldn't trade that. I really wouldn't. And the problem is if the competitive profile of the game increases, then you will have an increase in the sort of malefactors, who will play against that culture and take advantage of that culture. Like that's just a natural outgrowth of the profile of the game rising.
Maybe.
And that's sad but true.
That's guaranteed.
And it's not guaranteed, but there will be an increase. It will happen at least initially. And especially if you introduce larger prize pools, like could you imagine if Legion had cash prizing? Like, oh my god!
Oh yeah,
the rule set's not even close to
care for or need cash prizes.
No.
I was actually looking at the MTG judge packet today, and I was like, wow, this is like pre-calc. This is about as bad as it gets when it comes to because they have to be very specific because they have $1 million prize pools on the line. So you need to have this level of specificity so that there is no wiggle room, right? And so again, like separate video, separate article, right?
Yeah,
Legion as a competitive game is what it is. I don't know if we can increase the profile without this increased sort of malefactors that are like going to take advantage of the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great that in my experience, top players are just really wonderful guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Without I actually can't think of one right now that I wouldn't enjoy playing against who's like highly rated.
Yeah.
So I can't think of a single one.
Well, and it's nice to feel like even though your opponents in the game, you still have come and go. Again, like you do both want to finish on time, right? Everybody wants to finish the 5 rounds if you can.
Right.
Again, in my vast experience, I've not met many people that slow play on purpose. And people, and again, I like people generally help each other. Oh, would you hand me that? Oh, would you do? Oh, could you reach? Could I borrow that? Oh, I can't. Where's my? Could I borrow yours for a second? Right there. It's very collaborative.
Let me run this.
That's very valuable. Yeah.
Let me run this past you guys too. So Legion is a game, right? Nowhere in the rules is the clock outside of tournaments ever mentioned, right? So in a sense, time is like this extraneous. It's like this extra game element that has to be handled because of the logistics of running a tournament. And so it's really kind of an extra game thing. Like ideally, we would have infinite time to do all the tasks that were required to play a complete game in good faith, right? So
I'd probably go crazy even if my opponent was taking 10 minutes per turn.
Oh, I would go
even
nuts
casual,
too. Like the fun level would drop immensely, right?
Yeah.
So
Too much waiting.
it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
But from a purely theoretical perspective, right?
Yeah.
Time should not be a factor in completing a game. Now, whether that's fun for you is another question, right? But still, I just thought I heard this. I'd heard this from a dear friend who no longer plays Legion because he moved on to Unlimited. But his discussion kind of reminded me of him and I talking about the structure of tournaments and sort of logistics of tournaments and how that kind of introduces the time element. And it's not really at some level, it's not really a game thing. It's a human thing.
Yeah.
The way you said that, it sounded like he died or something.
No.
Like a friend who played Legion, but he moved on.
He sold his collection.
Well,
he's dead to Legion, or Legion's dead to him. I don't know. He sold off his stuff. So
he's on to a better place.
A different game is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to paint your pieces and stare at your pile of shame before you do it. Like us, us addicts.
You buy your collection. You pray. Don't people don't overprint or manipulate the stock, and your value holds and all this stuff. I don't know if this is related to recent news about Hasbro. Apparently, there was some like drama about card hoarding and things like that. There's some recent drama about that. It's all over the gaming news space. But
I will say though, like I do love the Legion community. I also, I'm sure that somewhere someone is like, I met that Brian Bear guy and he was kind of salty. And so like
this is over the man who has an article about it.
Yeah, I read that article.
True.
I don't want to pretend like I'm a perfect person. I do try to be super jovial and have fun, but there have been times where I've wanted to win and I've got salty, and if that has ever been the case, I'm sorry.
I'll share just to share with you and affirm you and the feeling of imperfection, right? I had a very low moment when I was first playing the game competitively in like 19. Okay. And I was playing in an RP, it was called RPQ at the time, Rally Point Qualifier, because we had a different qualification system. I was playing an RPQ and time was running out and I sensed it. And then I knew it was running out because they had called, 10 minutes or whatever. And we got to the start of 6 because we were still under the 6-round system then. We put our cards down. The judge calls time. Dude, I spun around. I think I hissed at that guy. Like, get away from me. I am starting round 6. I forget, like, I had some kind of visceral reaction because I was like, don't effing interrupt me. I'm about to kill his Luke with my land speeder. You know? It was that level of intensity for me.
Oh, man.
So I apologize to the tournament organizer in Sacramento for doing that. Because that was a low moment for me in terms of being a competitor. Yeah.
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 I will say one of my prouder moments in a loss was the very first time I had ever really done well at a big tournament. Actually, it was the tournament where I met you, Brian. It was the Gen Con where you kicked my butt. I ended up playing. It was the first time I'd ever chance to play for an invite because I was pretty new at the time. So I played Austin Miller for the first time, and it was a game where, you know, old style objectives was recover the boxes, recover the supplies. I got 3 of the 5 objectives like instantly, and so all game I had 3 of the 5 and was just kind of running away and hoping to stay alive. And we were getting to the end of round 5, and time was getting close, like it was right on the wire, and I had all the boxes.
I was watching this whole game.
I knew I would win. I knew I would win if I get, and I could see Austin get nervous. He's like, "We got to get to round 5." And I looked at him. I said, "Austin, no matter," because we also, like, we weren't in the official circuit. Anyway, it was sort of a side game that was going on over the invite. Neither of us were in the tournament anymore, so the judges weren't watching us as closely. But so I looked at him, and he's like, and I said, "Austin, I promise you, we'll play round 6. I don't care when the judge calls time," because we were like right on the border, and I was like, even though, like, in my mind I knew, I was like, I knew in my mind, like, if I go a little bit, if we were to end now, I would win. But it's time I said, Austin, I promise we'll play round 6. And I think we started like literally like right before. But I bet when I said even if he'd called time and we were like putting down cards, like, yeah, we would have played round 6. It wasn't technically an official game anyway, even though an invite was on the line. And he killed my stuff in round 6 and took my box, and I lost the invite. But this is back when, if you got the angle just right, you could shoot under a bus. And so I had my Black Sun Vigo hiding with an objective behind a box, and
flight stand.
Yep. He went and was looking and getting the angle. And this is when you had to look from the head, right?
Yep.
So it was
terrain scoping was the thing.
Broken ankles.
It was very.
He broke those guys' ankles.
Yep.
Had my lightsaber tip shot off.
Yep.
Now I want to do a conversion of Black Sun Viggo Mortensen with a broken foot.
Viggo Mortensen with a broken foot after he kicks the helmet.
Yeah, he kicks the helmet.
After Austin Miller shoots it under your bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
If you're listening, Austin, took the invite from me with your bus shooting. You scoundrel, you scallywag.
I mean, to be fair to Viggo Mortensen, he could totally play a Black Sun enforcer. He's tall as all get out.
He'd be awesome.
He's a little chunkier now too. I could see it.
Get him in the robe with a giant crown thing on top, like a unicorn horn, rhino horn on top of his head.
Viggo Mortensen's awesome. He can play anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
he can play Padme. I'd watch it.
We got some tournament shout-outs, right?
Yeah, we do. Absolutely, we got to make those.
Yeah.
So John, I think you have the details for the April event that's coming up.
Yeah, there's a tournament, a GT that's AMG prize supported in Phoenix, Arizona at Gamers Guild. It is AMG prize supported with locally made stuff for prize supports like trophies, stickers, tokens, and even helmets. Cheaper than a lot of other GTs since it's not attached to a bigger convention company at all. There's a full bar and full kitchen attached to the game store.
Whoa,
it'll be loads
nice.
of fun.
No, that game store is awesome. I've been there.
It's not the biggest one, but maybe the second biggest one. I think New York still got that huge one. I can't remember what it's called, but they've got a very big one there. But this one's super cool, Gamers Guild.
Yeah.
You could find the event on Longshanks if you look up Gamers Guild Legion Grand Tournament 2026. Yeah, encourage everyone to go check it out.
Yeah,
Good weather in
absolutely.
April too. Hopefully, probably better than these snowstorms.
Yeah, better than freezing.
Yeah, and it's also not Phoenix in summertime either.
We might actually have snow tomorrow in Tampa.
Oh snap!
Dang,
That's on the forecast now.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the other thing we're going to talk about too is that Adepticon's coming up soon. It's in 2 months, I believe, from yesterday, I think, because it's March 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Sometime at the end of the month. I'm sure you can go to Adepticon.org and look it up. I'm doing a great read, guys. Amazing, fully accurate information. No, perfect, flawless read.
I'll tell you here. It's March 25th to March 29th.
Hey,
There you go. All right, so the 27th is smack in the middle. I knew it. I got it.
Totally intentional.
Nice.
Bucketed.
Nothing but net.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's coming up, and so Winter Moon is not formally doing the streaming because I have a whole spiel I need to write about why, and that'll be coming out in probably the next month because I want to make sure it's really thorough, get all my thoughts out there, make sure that I give you guys the whole scoop, and it's worthy of that level of effort. And then but that isn't to say that you won't see familiar faces in the streaming booth because John and Zane are both coming back.
Yeah.
To work with That's No Moon, the other moon themed podcast that
Yeah.
does Legion from the UK. But they're gonna work together in the streaming is my understanding. And I don't know,
Nice.
John, if you want to leak any details, if anything has been discussed. I don't know.
We've made discussions, but we're really just organizing ourselves right now. I'm trying to do some pre-stream tools that I've talked about for 5 years. I don't want to say anything because then I'm probably just not going to have it done in time again.
Mm-hmm.
But
they say under promise, over deliver. Right?
Exactly. That's what I'm doing here. So maybe our episode in a month, I'll talk about it.
There you go.
Because it'll be done by then.
Love that.
Are you playing in the tournament, John, or are you just streaming?
I did get a ticket to play, so I'll stream Thursday. Thursday there's going to be a non-competitive event, the Total Warfare thing. We're going to stream. We'll work out kinks on our equipment and setup. We'll stream that. Friday I'll be playing, and we'll have who are we going to have? Andy and Zane and Cockles will be on the cast available for the stream. Me and Ollie will be playing, and then the losers that don't make it to Saturday will be streaming.
We'll rotate through.
Yeah.
The people that didn't make it will come talk.
Yeah.
I go ahead.
So I was gonna say, I helped out a couple times on stream this past year, or maybe just once. Anyway, I was on stream at some point, but I streamed a guy that I ended up playing against. So it was a little bit weird. I felt like I had like a slightly unfair advantage because I had like watched him play an entire game and like I knew his list, and then we played the next day. I was like, oh, I streamed you yesterday, man. Yeah, it felt like, I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, but it was, I don't know, it felt like so kind of an advantage.
This has come up in other circumstances, by the way, with the streaming, and I think it's kind of a small thing that probably shouldn't be an issue because, we're gonna know command cards are secret information, right? And so this has been a thing in other tournaments where it's like we need to publicize command hands because that way there's no disadvantage to being on stream. And I think I can't imagine a world where like someone knows the stream and knows they're playing against a guy who was on stream and then goes and scouts his command hand. It's like the stakes aren't that high, dude. Like
I could see it happening
what are you
for like
doing?
the top cut at Worlds.
Sure.
I would not put it past.
But then it's small enough that everybody will know everybody's and it's all good,
And well, it's a small enough advantage most of the time.
Right. It's also so rare that someone genuinely has a massively meaningful command card impact that totally catches. Right.
Yeah.
Right, it's very right. You're playing against Vader, and he's like, "Implacable! I didn't know you had implacable in your command hand." It's right. It's like that's never going to
so
happen.
unpredictable.
Right.
The rebel hero hammers that have the most unknowable command.
Yeah.
True. It might,
Right.
it might
Then, like,
unfairly disadvantage a hero hammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but even then, it's rare. It's rare that like knowing the cards versus not knowing the cards is that much of a
Right.
difference. You can usually guess which cards they're going to take, depending on their characters, and it's a lot of times it's more how people use the command cards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is sometimes in ways that you didn't encounter, and then sometimes word will get around about that. Like, did you hear this guy played this card to do this? You're like, what? No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then later, the next day, by the time they play somebody, everybody's already heard about it. But
Right.
that's usually not. Yeah.
Some of those are things like that can surprise people, like the rebel generic, or this rebel specific one pip where you can only order one unit from the opponent can only order one unit from their card. That can catch people off guard because people don't normally take it. So I can see that there's some strategy there, but at the same time, like if you're going to continue to win at a top level and be streamed, then you're
Handicapped.
Yep. Sorry, the world's against you.
Yep.
Man, Sabcom's strongest neutral when it came out. Still probably the strongest neutral.
It's great.
Yeah.
Strongest.
I think so.
It's really good.
It is really good.
Stripping
I don't know
orders
that
is
I'd call it
insane.
strongest.
Pin down is still
Pin
really
down is
good.
really good.
I think
too.
pin down
Like
and the other.
it's niche because not everything can use it, but
Yeah.
I think if Sabcoms affected droids at all,
Yeah.
then maybe.
Yeah, because it doesn't stop coordinator.
Doesn't
it
stop the
card
chain.
orders.
Doesn't
stop
stop
direct.
directs.
Yeah.
No.
And they have like 3 sources regularly now of direct. Like, come on.
Gross.
yeah, droids are so strong right now. It does feel a little bit like droids have the same strengths that they used to have, but don't have the same weaknesses because AI is so
Yeah, you don't wanna
rarely
get me
a
started
factor
on
now.
this.
No,
But
AI is
the B ones
it's only a
also
boost. It's only a bonus because all of their keywords
Yeah.
are off of AI units. So like you are happy with AI now. It's not a boon at all. Or it's not a curse at all.
Yeah.
It depends on how far your army has to split. I think if you don't have override, which I think is less common. Well, which of the super attacks has override?
Stopped paying
Kraken,
attention.
and then I think
Well, I mean, nobody takes Kraken, right?
sadly.
Is it the agent or not the
Who
agent?
cares
Does the
about
operative
overriding?
super tech have override or something?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. The droid force
but-
powers are so great.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yes, they're very good. But I mean,
You're
I
not
was
going
just
to go
going
out
to
of
say,
your way to include override in a list.
right. If you don't have override, and I can't remember which super tech has it, it's not inconceivable that things like
Both
your
customs
Decas or
have
your Aquas are going to be more than range 3 from your commander.
So I'll
Like, that's
say
not
this,
unusual.
last year when I went to India Open before the Super Tag custom was out, I used the heck out of the generic override on my Droidicas because the Droidicas were always on the other side of the board
That's true.
and they needed to aim and shoot.
Right.
They were
So
already
if
on
you
the
don't have
objective,
that
they just sit there and
override,
aim and shoot. Yeah.
Kalani is the only one that doesn't.
Oh,
Kraken
so
and
both-
operative and commander.
they
No.
all have override.
They all have it. That's wild, dude.
Well,
Not
What?
Kalani.
it's a lot harder to be range 5 away from your
Oh,
commander.
man.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Droids are
Well,
busted.
Well, we're kind of leading into future meta discussion a little bit. Like, what do you expect to see? Because it seems like right now, this wheel bite Grievous thing is like, walking over people and doing it fairly easily. Like, Kyle from formerly of Notorious Scoundrels. I guess he's still with Notorious Scoundrels, but not as a regular guest.
Yeah.
But he basically like picked that list up and went to Windy City and kind of just like started stepping on people with it.
First 5 games in 2 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do
And
you guys think?
He made a lot of mistakes with it too, but it's a forgiving enough list that it's okay.
I think Kyle.
What about this? What about it makes him forgiving?
He said he made a lot of mistakes. Let's just
Okay, well, I don't
want to call him out and be like, Kyle screwed it up, but he still got by.
No, that's his self-deprecating manner, winning you over.
Yeah,
is what that is.
I think Kyle is the type of player that can take that list very far. I have played against several people with that list and with Triple Saber, and I've squashed it. I think the general strategies with that list work 80% of the time. But if your opponent has any defensive tech, any resistance to that alpha, then you're dead.
I'll say that when I saw it at Oklahoma, it was like a buzzsaw. Like it just destroyed people.
Yeah.
They were not ready for that level of power.
Yeah, and I'll take maybe 4 wounds from everything round 1.
Mm-hmm.
And like lose nothing, and then all 3 Staps and Grievous will be dead by round 2. So
yeah,
with Triple Saber,
you do.
Right.
It has changed the way that I have list built. I have to be like, okay, so I have to have these things in mind in order to, because it is the meta boogeyman, so you want to make sure you're prepared for it. But I think it's one of those lists that if you haven't played into it, it's going to smash your face in. But after you played into it once, you're like, okay, so these are the kind of adjustments I need to make. And this shores up my defense against that kind of a list much better. And so I'll be much better prepared to play it a second time than I was the first time. And so I do think that it is a buzzsaw, and it has been a buzzsaw because not everyone's playing it yet, or not everyone has played against it yet. I think that we will see it do well at Worlds. I don't think it's going to win Worlds. I think there's going to be too many things out there that are ready for it.
It's really good against white saves.
White saves are hot right now. White save armies are good.
It has a lot of output. The thing I noticed the most was that the output was very high. Like it can get where it wants and do damage when it wants, and it's going to modify it pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Tactical download, the big culprit.
Luminous Beings on a 100-point unit is a hell of a drug. Yeah.
Sick.
Except, I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of a side grave. Arguably better.
Yeah, it is arguably better.
No range, more tokens. Mm-hmm. Just you only get to use one at a time.
The drawback.
I was gonna say that's kind of the drawback.
Aims aren't the drawback. The dodges are, but can be avoided.
Yeah, the aims you can just time it and you can avoid the drawback.
In clones in particular, I'll say the surges are very good for clones in particular.
Yeah.
But it still feels the fact that you have to like justify Luminous to maybe be on par with it is like insane. It's silly. That shouldn't be a thing.
Well, it's telling, right? Because it's like here was this uniquely strong ability. And people were like, "Oh, this is Yoda," it makes sense.
It's tied to a 200-point unit
in my head, and it's tied to a 200-point unit.
150,
yeah. He's
after taxes,
yeah,
200 point, to make an unsexy analogy, but yeah. So we're gonna now talk about this 100-something point custom that has access to this ability. Wow.
Yeah,
and that's just one thing in their kit.
This is we're talking about one element. Yeah, one element of this puzzle, right?
The Yoda comparison is good though, because overclock and
overclock is the most insane thing.
And Jedi mind, like
Slicer.
Jedi mind trick versus sliced comms and demoralize. It does.
So hard.
It doesn't. I mean, they don't have force push, and they don't have the actual raw destructive power that Yoda can have. Like you can't just send a super attack to a POI and be like, "Oh, I'm going to destroy this POI." Like Yoda can do that.
Yeah,
and you can't do that with the super attack. But that's like
he can't do it to Aquas. They just have way too much raw health.
Yeah, vehicles generally, I feel like, are a little bit more awkward for Jedi. Because Jedi can't really hide and they can't engage vehicles to hide, and they can't force push them off objectives.
Yeah.
And I mean, lightsabers, it kind of depends on the saber, but sabers are so into armor. It kind of depends.
What's weird about Aquas though right now is you can snap them off POIs.
Yep. Yep, you've always been able to do that.
Okay.
They're
You can also do it to
multi-mini
speeder
and have a
bikes.
melee weapon.
Yes, you
Yeah, you
can.
can do speeder bikes too.
Speeder
yeah.
bikes?
Yeah.
Any unit with multiple models snaps.
I thought it only worked for Aquas because they had a melee weapon.
No.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm
Nope.
gonna have to reread things.
So-
I don't trust anyone.
So the thing about melee weapons is melee weapons allows you to start a melee.
Yeah, I knew
But
that
that's
part.
the only thing. Having a melee started with you, the rules are the same for all types of units.
Right, you have to snap at a
Right.
stage of the stage of the start of the melee. You have to snap.
Mhm.
Right.
So
It's just that traditionally most vehicles are single model units,
I'll
right.
figure it
So
out.
and
we
then
generally don't care
the-
about snapping, but
and then
To connect the
speeder
rest
bikes
of the
are only
dots.
2 models.
Right.
Right. So if you usually start a
Yeah.
melee with something, you're usually touching the other bike. But Aquas, I think, was the first time, because the rule is older than Aquas, but I think Aquas was sort of widespread, made people realize, because there's so often where you start a melee with an Aqua and you're not touching some of the models.
Mhm.
And people went, wait, at some point people realized, oh, you actually have to snap these even though you're not engaged in melee, which is,
And you have to snap the unit leader first.
yep.
that's
Oh.
the big one.
But you're because you're not engaged, you can then move, snap them, and then freely
That's
move
the dot I want
again
to
onto the point.
Because you're not
Yeah.
engaged, so you act like Luke Skywalker's disengaged. It feels
Yes.
Oh,
like. You go
wild.
snap
Oh,
them off and
okay.
then walk
Wow.
across.
That's
So
mind-blowing.
anybody can do that to Aquas.
Okay, so just for the audience, right? If you
Yes.
didn't follow that, so you starting your activation, 2 actions. First move, contact with a speeder bike. Okay, leader snaps off. You are not engaged because the speeder bike is a vehicle. Action 2, move to POI. Now you
Correct.
flip that POI by 2.
Yeah.
Because -1 for your opponent, +1 for you in terms
Yep.
of unit leaders.
Yep.
Well, and
So-
the best. Oh, sorry. The best is to do this with units that have some relentless or one of its children.
hmm
So, like, you take a Jedi, and you do this with like Aquas. You move touch one model that's off the POI. The leader has to snap is off the POI, and then you move in and you charge something else that's on the POI, or like
Right.
Han or Bad Batch or whatever. Like
you
that's
can,
like
you can just sort of on the follow through delete another unit, right?
right.
Mhm.
That's like the dream.
Yeah, that's the
Just
dream right there. Because now you're
snapping
potentially
these
up.
guys
You're
This
up
trick
3.
is a lot harder when you have like a 4 or 6 or 8-man model or
Yes,
unit.
it's much better with one.
Yes.
Yeah. With one, it's easy. With the others, like there's often they're going to be able to find a spot to base your unit while still being on the POI.
Right. Because you got so many bodies. Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure.
That is
It's
some
a good trick though.
counter Aqua tech for you guys.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the thing with droids right now, to generalize it just a little bit, I mean, the output is obviously there, and I assume, I hope droids will get balanced a little bit with time. I think some of those things need to go up in points. Hopefully in April we see some, but it's the speed. I guess the fact that they hammer you while getting the objective so quickly. Like as an Empire player, like I'm jealous that you can do more output than me, but also get to the objective. I'm like, my Empire lists I make a lot of times can do more damage than my opponents, but it's at the cost of being so slow getting to the points. It's the fact that you can just have the Staps, Grievous,
No
the
downside to
Aquas,
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
right? The fact that they're all on the objectives immediately, and they shoot harder than you, and they have more wounds than you, and they have more defensive tech than you. The fact that it's all of it at the same time, that's what's like, whoa.
People
This
love
is
to
rough.
hate on the clones that have Courage 2 everywhere. They're like, oh, but it's so good. Droids have like Courage 4 feels like forever since the beginning of time.
Because
Yes.
they don't.
They're
they
always
don't
going to get their
suppress.
2 actions.
They don't suppress. So, you have to put that equivalent panic level suppression to even remotely affect their action economy.
Well,
Yeah.
and these lists are so vehicle centric. The
That's another
B1s
factor,
aren't really
yeah.
the issues, right? The vehicles don't panic at all, and you can't, and like we were saying, there's these kind of tricks you have, but it's a lot easier just to force push them off, but you can't do it, right?
So-
And Vader enters the chat.
I had yeah.
He
had the
can't
same
throw
thought.
Aquas because they're
Yeah,
heavies.
that's true.
Yeah,
He
you can't
throw
Vader's
them.
Mad and Aqua. Yeah. Which is weird.
They could push Dark Troopers, but Vader can't throw a Dark Trooper.
Right.
Yeah.
I had the
Can't
same
push or
thought that
throw
you had.
aquas.
I had the same thought you
Yeah.
had, Nathan, earlier. Was sort of like gun lines, and I was like, man, it's a bad trade. Like, sure, I get range 4, but then like if I'm a shore trooper, I'm speed 1, and then it's like if I'm a death trooper, I only have 5 models, and I'm not immune to pierce. Like
Not
there's
even
just
impervious.
not even impervious. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like, I would say there's a lot of like tall asks
Yeah.
in terms of like the points cost versus the benefits in
Yeah,
Empire right now.
to sort of do a loop-de-loop back to like our very original topic that went coming from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were talking about points deficits and everything. One thing you have to make sure, if you are purposefully taking a VP points deficit, you absolutely 100% have to be winning on attrition. You have to be
Mhm.
trading those VPs. And we didn't say because it kind of is a little bit implicit in there, but in case it's not at the front of your brain, if you're playing round 2 and you are losing on VPs and you're also losing attrition, you need to like majorly change your game plan
Take
at
a
that
look in the
point.
mirror.
Are
Right,
ranges
yeah.
speed 2? Ranges are speed 2, right?
Range what?
They're
Trooper?
speed
Range
1,
Speed 1 with spur, right?
What is
spur, and courage 2 and
Range trooper?
indomitable.
Yeah.
So-
What's a range trooper? They went up 10
They're
points and no one
kind
knows who
of-
they are.
There they are.
Yeah, well, I would say that.
Spur.
Well, I would say they're kind of
Yeah.
speed 2 because again they're courage 2 and indomitable. Except for that, if you spur them, it does make them a little bit easier to panic on the back end.
Yeah.
So
Very
that's the
much.
thing to watch out for with them.
I mean,
Spur's a trap unless you got like Vader.
Yep.
this might be the bitter veteran in me talking, but when they got rid of Imperial Guard and they switched the game to kind of like a stand on points, they kind of ripped the guts out of Empire. Because that's kind of been the problem all along, right? It's like-
The non Battle Force Empire lists.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to. I'm
generic Empire, yeah.
I'm optimistic about Thrawn.
Me too.
We don't know his point cost, but he looks so cool, and he has so many abilities. I wonder if he might give Empire the tricks that they need
Am I
to
mistaken?
revitalize them.
Am I mistaken that because Tarkin has entourage, you could, in theory, run Vader, Tarkin, Thrawn?
Oh yeah, you could run all 3.
So that might be a way forward. I think Vader with PTS juicing him is like a unknown quantity. Like we don't know how that's gonna, at what level that's gonna come in, but it's probably gonna come in pretty well, right? Like, because
Yeah,
It's going to come in hot on one side. That's the problem, though. I think you're going to run into similar things that like Op Luke lists run into. I feel like Op Luke is fantastic on like close the pocket, but the minute you start introducing 5 or 6 objectives, Op Luke's effectiveness drops dramatically. And I think we would see the same thing with Vader there, even with pull the strings. Like it's great, and maybe you'll even get better mileage out of it, but. You're ultimately just kind of winning a board half.
I think the trick with that is going to be on the implacable turn, burst of speed plus implacable plus pull is going to be the trick.
and you can't use pull to get you a charge though.
I know, but it's the extra movement.
Yeah, I mean the extra movement's a big deal for sure.
Yeah, so now you get another what is it, 7 inches now, 8-inch move.
Yeah,
So that's definitely going to make a difference in his mobility.
for sure.
But then
It's cool.
then he leaves Tarkin behind. Sorry, dinner. Do we have the pull the strings rules entry? Is that in the rule book right now?
I don't know.
Because I don't actually. I'm going to look it up because I want to know. I want to know
Did
if
it go away?
if it's faction locked. Because if it's not faction locked, I just thought the pull the strings with the boss could be cool.
Well, I do believe Tarkin's card says pull the strings Empire Trooper,
Empire.
doesn't it?
Oh, okay, never mind.
I think it says that on his card.
Thank God.
Probably.
But what would be cool though is like chaining some of these things like Iden's 3-pip. When you have face up orders on dudes.
Yeah.
And then Tarkin can pull the strings on one of those guys before they activate so they can move, take a shot, and then double move, take a shot.
So you can't trigger the steady.
Bingo.
What? Oh, really? Even pull the strings?
Steady charge.
Which for the same
relentless,
reason that
don't
guidance
trigger
doesn't
outside
work.
your activation.
Okay.
That's
Well,
right,
you can
yeah.
shoot before you move, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, you can still just trigger a
Right.
shot, but you can't trigger a move and shot.
Yeah,
They really
Imperial Trooper.
that
Yeah,
crap.
it's limited to Imperial Trooper. Darn. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna want like a super squad then.
Yeah, I think my mind goes to Shore Super Squad,
Yeah,
and I think you probably want to have 2 or 3 of them because you want to have some redundancy.
Well, 2 or 3 short super squads. That's expensive.
It is, but I think it's. I think it's what you want. If you only have one Shore Super Squad, your opponent's just going to shoot the crap out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
short
just going
super
to
with
make
a
that the
21
target.
is 126. If you put March on it, it's 132.
Do you put March on the Shore Super?
I think you do. I don't think you can give away the
I
extra
don't.
move.
I don't think you have Shores go on middle
I
points.
tried dug in versus March, and I would take March all the time.
Interesting.
I need the flexibility. Like I can't have units that are ineligible at any point, in my opinion. Like that's just my optimization.
In fairness, pull the strings could really help that.
Absolutely, we give them another movement.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I for why I do Shores, I actually take O push. Just to make sure they can always get that long shot. So you have that long shot in the pocket if you need it.
That's probably the best use of the aim on them is to get the range 4.
Yeah. The other thing, just since we're kind of just going random stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of went here on list building.
It's whatever.
It's fine.
Is this our first podcast of the year?
The first formal one, yeah.
Well, yeah. Screw it. Then we do whatever we want. First one of the year. Yeah, it's random stuff. Other place I'm struggling a little bit with Tarkin, which is what makes me say Shore Super Squads. Most other things in Empire, they really need aims to feel good. So I've said this on the pod before. I love Storm Super Squads. I don't know if they're the thing. Maybe in the new Stormtrooper Battalion, I think they maybe could be good. But even just in regular lists, I love Storm Super Squads with T21s and targeting scopes. But you do need to do some investment to get them their aims. And so there's a part of you that instantly goes, oh well, if you've got some Shore Super Squads, you throw Tarkin in there, and it's like great. Now there's like you've got like another one that you have on demand. But the problem is you don't get your aims back, right? And so it's like if you have like a Storm Super Squad build, and you invest all this tech in your officers and things to get your super squad multiple aims, and you shoot it, like having Tarkin doesn't actually double the output because you're not doubling the number of aims you're getting.
That's right.
And so there's like some
consistent.
Precise is like one of those things that doesn't scale with the bodies, and as much as I don't want other factions to get better, I almost want to say that like getting a super squad should increase their Precise 1 to Precise 2 just a little, give them a little bit. Maybe Rebel Super Squad gives them Agile 2 instead of 1.
So I'm going to put, because so you raise a point that I would love to riff on. I actually mathematically I would say that the Rebel keyword actually does scale with the unit.
It might.
Here's why.
Yeah.
Because
attacks coming in.
Exactly. If you have twice as many bodies, it takes twice as many attacks to use. Right, I know. Right, if you do Agile 2, please
Precise, increase Agile. Don't look at the math.
Have you used Rebel Trooper Super Squads? They're not bad.
They're not bad.
They do not need Agile 2. I promise.
If I'm going to argue for Precise 2, I'll argue for Agile 2.
No, please.
With fleets so that they can attack twice after they charge.
Charge 2. Charge X a keyword.
All right.
Fleets don't have anything.
No, but so this is actually a really interesting thing, though.
Yeah.
But maybe this is the math nerd in me. Maybe I'm going to go on a point that nobody else cares about. But it is interesting that
they better learn, because that's one of the foundations of being a competitor is knowing the math.
When you're thinking about efficiency with super squads and similar just like enlargement upgrades, it's actually really useful to think about which upgrades scale. And so like John brought up a good point with Precise, right? Precise does not scale directly with your number of bodies. It can scale with your number of bodies if you also scale your aim tokens. So here's what I mean. If you have just a Storm Squad with a T21 and you get 4 aims on it, your ceiling is 8, right? But if you have a Storm Super Squad and you have 13 dice and you have 4 aims on it, not actually maybe that precise 2 might actually work. And if you got 4 aims and you're you're maxing that reroll every time, you're getting 4 extra dice.
So who has target? Do shores have target still?
No.
Because target would be a good example of like target 1 to target 2. That's like perfect scaling.
Yes, right.
You know who has target? Ewok slingers.
Hey, so Ewoks should have target too when they're super.
Duh! Of course, we should make an already amazing
black and white.
I will like the Ewok slingers are already really efficient, which is why Dave's for those owners why Dave's joking.
That's why I'm laughing.
I think legitimately there is, if they were to rework super squads, I don't think they're going to do this. If they were to rework super squads, I think there would be a case that certain keywords should scale because other ones already do. And so we talked about it like for just a second, but I mean, I'm going to go back to it. The Rebel Troopers with the agile and the nimble. If you have twice as many bodies, you're going to spend twice as many dodges because you have twice as many attacks incoming on average to take you out. So their keyword actually does scale by having double. Clones, for example, do not. If you invest with 2 clones, you do not get double the surge tokens, which is why for clones, like this argument is sometimes brought up. Should I go with 1 unit should I go with 1 unit with a super squad or should I go with 2 units? It's like, well, with clones, unless there's like a specific tempo thing that you're working for, like like in Ahsoka Shotgun Super Squad, if you're just looking at the efficiency math, if you take 2 clone units, you get double the tokens, but you don't get that if you just take the Super Squad. So there's like
in agile that helps the rebels scale.
Yes,
nimble.
Yeah, exactly. If they didn't have nimble, then yes, you would want agile 2 to scale from agile 1. But because they have nimble, it's like the scaling is implicit in the number of models.
Rebels OP need nerf.
Yep.
Okay, actually though. Actually though. Well, and fleets, their whole thing is that each model gets 2 dice. That scales, right? That scales with your number of models, and their keyword is charge.
Is the other thing, and that's the same.
Right, and their melee attacks are twice as powerful if they have twice as many dudes. So their keyword scales.
Yeah, so charge scales. Yep.
Right. Anyway,
cool.
It was math rabbit hole, so I had to take my chance.
No, dude, this is like actually a thing people need to look at when they're making their lists and like trying to optimize. Like, because I think a lot of people go from like, and this is just my observation, and maybe this is a topic worthy of a show, is like, people go from like 0 to 1 with their lists, and we're talking about like 1 to 2, right? Which is like, I have this list, right? And like it's a pretty good list, and I like it a lot, and like I win games with it. But then it's like, okay, well, we gotta sort some things out about this because there's some things that just aren't quite up to par when it comes to the math optimization of the list. And so like people need to take that extra step and like learn these ideas, because those ideas would inform them when they make their choices, right? They would inform their choices.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, I'm planning, and it's like you can make an informed choice. Do I take a rebel trooper? Do I take a fleet? Right? Like it's not like one is better than the other, but it's like knowing that these things are true can be like sort of give you that kind of guidance as to like what, be confident in your choices, be confident in your play by extension,
Actually, an interesting example here. You're preaching gospel truth, Dave. An interesting point here about a unit that used to be just absolutely dominant that we've slowly seen taper off a little bit is Black Sun.
A lot.
An interesting point about Black Sun, I have a belief that their personnel upgrades are overpriced. Because if you look at the base unit, the base unit is 50 points, and that gets you 4 models. So you're looking at 12.5 per model.
Mm-hmm.
Now the extra dude is 11 with the free dodge, and so you think, oh well, 11 is less than 12.5 per, and that's a free dodge. Here's the thing: the Black Sun unit, implicit in that value of the 4 bodies, is also a free aim token that you're getting every turn. getting an extra body on your Black Sun is not getting you extra aim token.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So there's like implicit value in that calculation that's like missing. When you think, oh, 11 points for the body versus the unit's already 12 point, per, it's like an efficiency increase. It's like not really. And so and again, not to say that like Black Sun are bad, because they're not bad at all.
No,
But like,
certainly not.
but these are like little things to think about when you have units in your keywords and you're like really, really investing in this unit beyond just whatever the base naked set is. Like that's just something to consider in your efficiency calculus. Is are my keywords scaling in according to my investment? Um, and that's, again, that's not the only thing to consider. Sometimes with really big units, what you're looking for is tempo, and so you just want to be able to just
Yes.
nail something all at once with tons of dice, and that's really valuable.
Right.
But just on the efficiency side, it's something to consider. Something looks really powerful when you're thinking about it, and you put it on the table, and it feels like, man, that wasn't as strong as I thought it would be. That could be the reason why that you're feeling that way.
Okay, I have a follow-up question on Black Sun. Okay. Pierce. Okay. So I look at the shotgun. That's 28. That's like, seems very expensive to me suddenly, now that in light of this discussion.
The clone is 22. The fleet is 22. What other shotguns do we have? Is it just those three?
The SX-21 is
Pierce
technically a
and core.
shotgun, but it doesn't pierce.
Well, okay, but look at the SX-21 though. 2 white, 2 black with impact.
2 red. I
Two
think.
red, 2
Right,
white.
right.
two red.
Two
Yeah.
white, 2 red. Impact 1 for 13 points.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot.
13.
So in
Yeah.
my head, I'm
Keep
thinking
these
like,
nerfs.
scattergun on the Black Sun might need to come down a touch, but that's probably for
Or
another.
do the other shotguns need to go up?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Hard to say.
I wonder, genuinely, I wonder if some of these range 2 heavies are, because right in the old, when the game was all about range,
Mhm.
it was so hard to use these things. But in the current game, you get to range 2 so quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder if some of these range 2 weapons aren't a little too efficient.
Yeah.
No.
Brian, you're saying no just because you like them.
Make them cheaper.
You're just saying no because you like using them. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Make them free.
Yeah, I mean, this
SX
is
negative 12.
I mean, the other thing too is the shotguns were way down in value too, because range 2 was semi non-existent, in the old game, because of the not quite range 1 stuff. With movement, so like movement was not quite range 1, so you couldn't actually close to use these effective range, use range 2 guns effectively. You just couldn't do it unless you had a movement buff from something else, like a No Time for Sorrows, or unless you were a Tauntaun with speed 3 and you had an easier time getting your pistols on board.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of so just to the sort of the sum total of that, the last like 10 minutes or so is just like, I think knowing like what scales and knowing, what you're actually purchasing when you put a unit in your list, like having sort of a full countenance of what you're doing when you buy, you put that in air quotes, buy a unit, because that's what you're doing. You have a budget of 1,000 points, and you're trying to buy these units and make a good list, and a list that's functional for the objective and can actually win you the game and can possibly win fights as well. So I think with that, we're going to wrap up because it's been about 90 minutes. So guys, thank you so much. It's been a great first episode of the year. And hopefully the viewers will get value out of this discussion. I think it was a very wide ranging and good discussion. So with that, this has been
I'm going to squeeze in one more
go ahead, John.
shout out that I forgot about.
Go ahead.
It's a second tournament in Arizona. It's a charity tournament. So also
awesome.
Highly encourage. It's in Phoenix next month. Inferno Squad of Arizona is partnering with Smite Club for the Scorched Earth Open on February 28th. It's a charity. The proceeds go to children's education, and all food sales on site and everything go to it as well. So highly recommend. There will be local provided prize support.
They're still in Phoenix?
Still in Phoenix. This one will be at that school.
Okay.
But you could find the details again on Longshanks if you look up Scorched Earth Open.
All right. Scorched Earth Open.
Yeah. All right. That's all. No, I'm done.
All right, guys. So with that, this has been the Winter Moon Podcast. I'm David.
John Bushfax Bushman.
I'm Brian.
I'm Nathan.
And we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching and listening.